In this next video, I'm going to show you how to set up the validation in the fields. And we've got a list of validation that we need to achieve. First of all, we need to make sure a record will not save without the surname being present. A record will not save if the postcode is not in the correct format. A record will not save if the event is invalid. A record will not be saved if the cost per guest is below the accepted range. And a record will not save if the cost per guest is above the accepted range. And a record will not be saved if the dietary requirements is invalid. So let's have a look at the first one. A record will not save without the surname being present. So this is in TBL Customer. I've got that table open in Access. Just going into Design View now, and I'm going to click on the customer surname field. And if we come down to the validation rule, we're going to use is not null. And you'll notice that's in lower case. When I click off that, it will capitalise. And I know now that's syntactically correct and that Access will understand that is not null. Always put in some validation text. And this is the message that's displayed to the user if they try and save a record without the surname. If I just move this up a touch and let you look. Don't use required yes and allow zero length no. The examiner won't accept that as being appropriate validation for that surname. I recommend that you save and close down your tables as you're going along. The next validation is a record will not save if the postcode is not in the correct format. If we just go back and look at the data, the postcode is 2 letters in capital, 1 number definitely, and maybe a second number, a space, a number, and then 2 capital letters. Got TBL Customer open again, and we're coming down to the postcode field. And to validate this postcode, to make sure it's in the correct format, we're going to use input mask. So we have a greater than sign, which means whatever's keyed in at the keyboard, we're going to uppercase. LL means the user's got to key in 2 letters. Then a 0, which means the user's got to enter a number, followed by a 9. And the 9 represents an optional number. Then a space. A 0, which means the user's got to enter a number, followed by LL, which means 2 letters have to be entered. Save and close down the table. The next validation is a record will not save if the event selected is invalid. This will be in TBL Event Guest. If we go to Design View, if we look at this event ID here and click on it and then go to the lookup tab, you can see here we've already set this up when we created the relationships using the lookup wizard. We set it up as a combo box. It's based on a table, and the row sources we're going to select TBL Event ID from TBL Event. So that's already done, so we won't have to do anything further with that. That's fine. Close down the table. The next validation is checking that the cost per guest is between £10 and £5. You just have to look back if you can't remember what the upper and low limits are. They're actually given in the paper in the initial task. So the cost per guest is in TBL Event. Go to Design View. Click on Cost per Guest. The validation rule is going to be between 10 and 50. And again, when I click off it, it capitalise. I know it's syntactically correct. And then always put in some validation text, your message to the user, telling them what to do if something's been entered and it's invalid. cost per guest must be between £10 and £50. The final validation is a record will not be saved if the dietary requirements is invalid. So the dietary requirements is in TBL event guest. Click on dietary requirements, and for this we're going to set up a value list. Let me drag that up a bit, give me a bit more room. So if we come down and select lookup wizard, for this one I will type in the values that I want. We're not going to get it from another table. And in the column we're going to key in our dietary requirements. Click on next. Always limit to list, and what that does is it prevents the user from adding to the list when they're actually entering the data. And finish. And if we just go into the lookup tab for this and have a look, again we've got a combo box. This time it's a value list, and then in the row source it shows the items that are going to appear in the list, in the drop down in the combo box. That completes the validation now. You can at this point, if you want to, go straight onto the testing, jump over the queries and the report. You are testing just the table structure and the validation. You're not actually testing the queries and the report. And it could be that you gain more marks in an exam situation if you complete your testing next and then go back and do the queries and the report. So next video will be the queries.